I'll not go into super detail on the story. Well, fuck it. I'll tell this story. And just based on the noises he was making, I was like, he's gonna die like pretty quickly. But the one thing that I do not tolerate at all and will drive me crazy is stuff with kids. But I'd have dreams as a kid of like being somewhere and saving people and dying. I mean, it was obvious. Now a lot of people don't notice now, but first couple of years, I'd get asked about it daily. And I'd lie, I'd say, which is not a lie. I'd say, it was a workplace accident. No. So not details, but, unless I was just in a certain mood, then, or at a strip club, then I would say it was a shark bite, surfing off the Gold Coast of Australia. And, it works. But, people would, or thank you for your service or any kind of those things. And my reaction was always, it made me feel very uncomfortable. Because of those self-worth, issues. And, to me, I did it for selfish reasons of what I, wanted. And so I never really put it into the context of people depending on you. It just always made me feel, I guess, bad, quite frankly, is the word I'm looking for. But, it's interesting to spin it that way. And then with the military overall, again, I'm going to say what things that I feel or things that they are for me, whether that applies to anyone in the audience. If it fits, great. If not, great. But I can say for myself, I think I developed a feeling of, I can honestly say, and I'll not go into super detail on the story. Oh, fuck it. I'll tell this story. So there was where was I? Baghdad? Yeah, Baghdad, I think. Anyways, bunch of dudes got shot, 13 or 14 dudes. And at the time, I had the camera, so I would go around and take the photos of them. And by the way, just to note it, these guys were real pieces of shit. All of them suicide bombers. Every one of them about to blow themselves up within the next week. But anyways, so one guy was in the kitchen and he had dragged himself from the living room, and I don't know how many times he was shot, but I saw him, and he was making obviously blood in his chest, definitely had chest wounds. And just based on the noises he was making, I was like, he's going to die like pretty quickly. And so I went down to take his picture, and I took his picture, and I was pretty close, he was laying on the ground. And then I just was like, I'm just gonna watch him. I was probably a foot from his face. And then he died. And there was nothing.
No emotion?
Nothing. Still to this day. I've never felt bad about it. I didn't care then. And I was kind of like...
Were you expecting to feel something?
To be perfectly honest with you, I was hoping that I would feel something.
Is that why you did it? Is that why you watched him?
I didn't know that at the time. In hindsight, I think yes. Didn't know that at the time. but there was just nothing. And what I've learned, the reason I tell that story is because I learned something about myself. And that was, like I said, I was a sensitive kid. I was nice. I was too nice, quite frankly. An example would be picking up on girls. Nice doesn't work. Anyone who says it does is a fucking liar. Nice doesn't work. Be nice to girls and they'll like you. No, they won't. All my shithead, friends, were freaking, had girlfriends everywhere. And I treated a girl well and she's like, he's a great friend. I friend zoned the shit out of myself. Again, I was a friend zone Olympic gold medalist. But I was that kid. I was just a nice, sensitive kid. And at a certain point, though, I developed this, it's a statistic that special operations have all the characteristics of criminals, sociopaths, except for a couple. Well, this is definitely a sociopathic trait, which is once I put you in the you're a fundamental piece of shit category, once you're there, I fucking burn your house down. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. But I realized later that there is a unique circumstance, I'll call it, which I didn't put together until, I don't know, years later. And that is, as a kid, my childhood, I wasn't super mistreated. I was just left on my own. I raised myself. As my mom says it now, and she calls me, message me all the time. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, Mom, I'm over it. It's cool. But because I was the easy kid to deal with, she just, well, that one's good. And so I just didn't really, I think the only thing I learned from my dad was to not be a mechanic or alcoholic. That's about it. And so I was just I wasn't encouraged or discouraged. I was just on my own. And so when I joined, when I was a kid, before I joined the military, I used to have dreams. And again, I'm assuming this is not normal, but I'd have dreams as a kid of being somewhere and saving people and dying. I'd have that dream all the time. And I used the word dream because it was a dream. It wasn't a nightmare. I wanted that. Later in life, I was like, I was fucked up. Now I look at it, and again, my kind of concept was, now, again, I could watch, certain things happen, there's a lot of bad stuff that happens probably blocks from here, But the one thing that I will go, I do not tolerate at all and will drive me crazy is stuff with kids.
Yeah.
You fuck with kids, I'll fucking burn your house down.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.